Welcome back to Lorna Páirce here on WLR, with thanks to PwC Waterford. Well, to check in with how the Waterford hurlers are coping with the COVID-19 lockdown, delighted to welcome back to the show Daisha boss Liam Cahill. And Liam, I suppose this is the last thing you would have envisaged when you took on this position. I suppose everybody has kind of had to adjust to a new reality over the last 2 months or so. Can you kind of describe what it's been like to be an inter-county manager during this lockdown period?
Yeah, that's for sure, Tomas. It's strange times for everybody, and I suppose GA and hurling is probably least of our worries at the moment from the overall perspective of things. But yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's what's going on 7 weeks now since we've been in the situation where we couldn't assemble together as a group or a squad, and it's very, very difficult to manage from a distance. But in fairness to the players, they're ambitious fellas. Have always said that, and they've been working away on their own personal programs behind the scenes. But there's only so much of that you can stay doing and stay going through on your own without having Tomas a date in the future to aim to. So I suppose that's the big uncertainty for everybody, myself included, is that we don't really know when, if at all, that there will be a D-Day where we'll actually get back out onto the field and be able to prepare towards a date for a championship game.
And like on a practical level, Liam, what sort of training regime have you put in place as a management to keep the players ticking over?
Yeah, well, we're very fortunate with the support we have in our setup. Really are calling on the guys around the strength and conditioning side of it and the nutritional side of it to keep fellas in line and keep them I suppose occupied and keep the routine proper. So we would have had a stage there where we would be getting ready for, obviously, summer hurling, and our training would have changed from being more I suppose strength and power orientated to speed work and keeping fellas hurling maybe up to a higher level. So unfortunately the hurling side of it does suffer when you can't meet collectively, Tomas, as you know. So you'd be just kind of trying to design as much as possible that fellas could do individually on hurling malls and particular exercises to keep their hand-eye coordination in until we get an opportunity to meet collectively, which at this stage looks like it's as far away as ever, really.
Yeah, it sure does. And like I was just reading over the weekend, Liam, that Tipperary footballers are using Zoom to do some collective sessions. I suppose every county has to find a new way to go about their business. Have you availed of Zoom or any other technology or anything like that?
Yeah, we meet over Zoom there, once a week or every 10 or 12 days, and just to see how things are going. And in fairness to the players, like they have their tracking systems, their GPS systems that download their workload, and it's sent back to us, and we can see where they're at. But again, it's very hard to meet collectively over a Zoom or a virtual meeting when you haven't anything new to add to the thing from a date or a fixture perspective. So we took a decision this week that we taper things down, Tomas, for a little while, and maybe let fellas maybe off to their own devices there until mid-July maybe, or the start of July at least, and just take the big emphasis and the big pressure of real accountability away from it, and let fellas just relax both mentally and physically for a number of weeks until we see can we get some direction of where this thing is going.
So you've taken that decision yourselves, Liam, to kind of ease up on the players for the time being at least?
Yes, we have now. I know there's still announcements to come in relation to the overall scale of things. Tomorrow or over the weekend with the easing of some of the restrictions. But from what we're led to believe, there's going to be an extra 2 weeks added on there, and I don't see the GA making any call until they get directives from the health authorities and the government. So. I just envisage it myself that it's quite a bit away before we'll ever be able to meet collectively, collectively, Tomas, in the near future. So we're led to believe from what I'm hearing just on the ground that if that does happen and there is championships to be held this year, that club will come back first, and that's understandable, and that's that's great. If we can get some sort of playback, it'll be brilliant. But from what I'm led to believe, if it does happen, it'll be the clubs first, and we want to make sure that that fellas are ready to go to our clubs when that happens. But other than that, I think that the club championship is supposedly going to be played out in full before any inter-county activity will commence. So that looks like it's going to be very much so to the back end of the year.
Yeah, and I suppose resuming GA activity is a long way down the list of priorities at the moment, Liam, but still at the same time, would you like to see what contingency plans the GA have in mind if space does become available in the calendar later on in the year?
Yeah, sure, Tomas. That's the whole idea, and I've spoken about it just over the weekend there with Dermot Crowe in the Sunday Independent, and that's what I was looking for. Really, is just for the GA to come and give us some little bit of structure. It's not anything that we want definite or anything to that effect, because we know they can't confirm anything until obviously the health and well-being of everybody is how would you say that it's safe for us to come together. But at least if they came and said, our roadmap is that we don't envisage anything happening until September, October, November, well then it would give us all some sort of a guide as to what we need to do behind the scenes to keep ourselves motivated and fit. So, but as you said, Tomas, priority here is obviously everybody's health and trying to eradicate and kind of diminish this virus, or if at all possible, and if that means that no GA games or any sporting activity of any sort is going to happen over the next couple of months, well then so be it. That has to happen.
I suppose we're still very much in the realms of speculation, Liam, but right now, can you see how inter-county or even club activity can take place in a safe environment for everyone, for players, management, backroom staff, everyone involved in a setup?
Yeah, it's very hard to envisage that, Tomas, isn't it? Really, when you hear what when you hear how deadly this COVID-19 is, and I read the stories there every day of people on the front line battling this virus, and the people that have had loved ones taken from them as a result of this as well. And it's really, I suppose, as much as we crave and mourn to get back onto the GA field, it really is minuscule when you think about things at the moment when it comes to where people are with this virus. But to answer your question, getting back into a dressing room with 35, 40 people, between management, players and backroom staff, I think we're so far away from that at the moment that it's very hard to see anything happening, in the next couple of months. Yeah,
do you think the GA are kind of in a different scenario to professional sports who are mulling over this, Liam, the likes of soccer and rugby, who are looking at, games behind closed doors, cocooning players in hotels for 2 weeks before going back into action? That option really isn't open to the GA.
No, it's not really. And again, you're talking about professional sport there and the consequences that are with professional sport and the revenue that's involved and what have you. And I know it's a big part of the GA as well, but professional sport are so well set up, as you said there, Tomas, being able to put guys into hotels there for a 2-week period and make sure that they're meeting the criteria required to be able to take part in games safely. I don't think the GA are anywhere near that or would even envisage doing that from an amateur status anyway. And plus, players are all over the place, I suppose, working wise and everything like that, and geographically it just couldn't work, and you couldn't see it being a runner, to be honest, or even the GA entertaining the fact of doing that, really.
And just a final question for you, Liam, just on a personal level, are you still poring over matches and doing some analysis, or have you taken the opportunity to switch off a little bit during this down period?
Yeah, sure. However hard it is for us as supporters and managers and that, it's really, really hard on players, and I get bursts of energy there from time to time, and then you get down in your boots again saying, what's the plan here, or when is things going to happen? But from my perspective, it gives great opportunity, all right, to rethink and go back and look at various aspects of your own play and, the talent that's at your disposal there on the squad at the moment, and obviously look at opposition as well as to what they have brought over the league and that, and start preparing. But you can't, I suppose, look too far forward, Tomas, really until we get some direction. But it's strange times, as I said. It's really difficult. It's frustrating more so than anything else. But again, when you sit down and you cop yourself on, it really is small in the scale of things to what's really going on out there as a result of this virus. So, our players and management and everybody associated with our setup anyway are totally committed to making sure that we're fully compliant with everything that's required from that perspective, to make sure we're playing our part to keep everyone healthy and safe.
Well, very well said. Well, Liam, thanks so much for taking our call today, and we'll catch up to you again very soon.
Yeah, please God, Tomas. Hopefully we'll get back out onto the playing field sooner rather than later.